Hello, welcome back to the Sport Map. I got my predictions lined up for the March Madness Women's Tournament. In this case, I'm going with, in the first region on the top left, I got UConn winning against UTSA, Syracuse winning against Iowa State, Maryland winning against Murray State, North Carolina winning against Maryland. And UConn will beat Syracuse, and North Carolina will beat Maryland, as well as UConn will beat North Carolina. UConn will face off against Notre Dame, where they will win. In the other corner, we have UCLA taking on California Baptist, where UCLA will win. Oklahoma State will take on Princeton, and they will win. Ole Miss will take on Gonzaga, and I predict that they will win. Minnesota will beat Green Bay, and Baylor will beat one of the first four competitors to move on to the second round, where UCLA will beat Oklahoma State, Ole Miss will beat Minnesota, and UCLA will beat Ole Miss in the Sweet 16, where they will play LSU but will lose to LSU. Now, continue on the bracket. Notre Dame will beat Fairfield, while Ohio State will beat Howard. Illinois will beat Colorado, while Vanderbilt will beat High Point. Now, Notre Dame will beat Ohio State, and Illinois will beat Vanderbilt, while Notre Dame will then go on to beat them in the next round, the Sweet 16, where Notre Dame will then lose to UConn. Now, over on the far right, Duke will beat Charleston, but they will lose to Baylor in the second round. Villanova will beat Texas Tech, but lose to, and LSU will beat Jacksonville and beat Villanova in the second round, while LSU and Duke will face off against the Sweet 16 and ultimately lose. Well, LSU will beat Duke, and then LSU will lose to UCLA in the Elite Eight. Now, going on to the bottom left, basically, South Carolina will beat the first four teams. I don't really have faith in any of the first four teams, unfortunately, this time around, seeing the matchups. Clemson will beat USC, while Michigan State will beat Colorado State, Oklahoma will meet Idaho, and South Dakota State will beat Washington, while TCU will beat UC San Diego, and then Georgia will beat the next first four competitor, while Iowa will beat FDU. Now, the next round will be Clemson beating South Carolina, while Michigan State will beat Oklahoma. TCU will beat South Dakota State, while Iowa will beat Georgia. Now, Clemson will beat Michigan State, but they will ultimately lose to Iowa, while Iowa will win against TCU in the Elite Eight. Now, going to the far case of Regional 3, Texas will beat the first four team, while Virginia Tech will beat Oregon. Kentucky will beat James Madison. West Virginia will beat Miami. And then Alabama will beat Rhode Island. Louisville will beat Vermont. And Tennessee will beat NC State, while Michigan will beat Holy Cross. Now, Michigan is going to beat Tennessee, while Louisville will beat Alabama. And West Virginia will beat Kentucky, while Virginia Tech will beat Texas. Now, Virginia Tech is going to lose to West Virginia, while Michigan will lose to Louisville, but West Virginia is ultimately going to beat Michigan. Now, the final four will be UConn and Iowa, LSU and West Virginia. We will have a rematch, but this case, I think it will go to UConn, while they'll meet LSU in the final and ultimately win against LSU with an 82-point total. Now, that's my predictions. Let me know what you think. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Help get this video to 200 likes, and let me know who you think is going to win, whether or not you agree or disagree with my picks.